If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time, all of the time, all of the time.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are all around the world. Thank you for tuning in to the Counter Racist Code Show, Neely Fuller's Counter Racist Code Show. We thank you for tuning in. I am Mr. Bobby, and on the other end, the co-host is Professor Gates. Gate, as somebody referred to him in the chat room. So we're going Prop Gate. He's in the house today. So we'll have his takes and we'll get on with the subject today. Let me do some housekeeping out of the way here. Remind me in the chat, just in case I forget, that we have a special announcement or commercial, you could say, coming up at about the 30-minute mark. I think that some of you will be interested in this. Still Learning had a question about that, which we'll answer. Said, should holidays aimed at Black psyche be scrutinized to the same depth and degree as Eurocentric holidays? So right on, Gate, and right on Still Learning. All right. Anyway, let me go on here. You can help promote the show, support the show by hitting the like button and the share button. To watch the show live, and make sure you tell all your friends, go to YouTube at Produce Justice, Facebook and Instagram at Produce Justice Neely Fuller Jr., and you could also watch the show live at producejustice.com. By the way, a replay of the show is available immediately on all platforms. To get on the show, to share your thoughts, which we do encourage, click on the link in the feed and you will be prompted on what to do next. You can also find instructions on the website at producejustice.com. That's important because you actually help make the show and actually make the show better with your participation. Now, my only thing is this: since we only have an hour, please, ma'am, please, sir, please be concise. You can't get it in the time limit that we have. So make it concise and sweet so that we can get some feedback on it. Some of you are long-winded, and I'm not going to lie, it kind of gets to me, but I'm not the one pushing the button. But anyway, try to make it short so we can get some more feedback on it. Okay, now, speaking of that, you can feel free to read a passage from one of Mr. Fuller's books on air for discussion. Now, if you would like to contact us off the air, send your questions and comments to, listen to this, contact@producejustice.com. Another thing, to order all the books that we will be talking about, Mr. Fuller's books, you can go to producejustice.com. Also, the limited edition coffee table size leather bound collector's item version of the original 1984 code book is now available, which you can get by going to producejustice.com. Now, caution, this is available on a first come, first served basis, and when they are gone, they're gone. All right. That's all the housekeeping items that we have to do. Hopefully, I can get some of your comments in the chat because we're going to talk about the holy days or horror days, as somebody referred to it. And Gate, it's up to you now. Take it away.
Good morning, Mr. Bobby, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Once again, as Mr. Bobby stated, this is your show as well as ours. We're just facilitators. We're the hosts. This is Neely Fuller Jr.'s Counter-Racist Code Show. And we have been charged with the responsibility of keeping his legacy alive, which we have accepted graciously, and we're honored to be able to do that. You can join the conversation by coming into the feed. You can go to YouTube, Facebook. We also have a feed on Instagram. So we're trying to get this out here to as many people as possible. And we just want to thank you again for tuning in this morning. Now, we have an interesting topic today. We're going to talk about holidays this time of year. Mr. Fuller, in the past, we kind of brought up this topic. Mr. Fuller would have his thoughts and expressions when he and Mr. Bobby were hosting the show. And he would, around this time of year, he'd bring up the topic. Almost the first week of December, almost without exception, Mr. Fuller would voluntarily bring up this topic. So we're going to keep that tradition alive. Talking about the holidays, I even put a tough question out here. Is Santa Claus a tool of the white supremacists? Old Saint Nick. Mr. Fuller even talked about Saint Nick in his word guide. He talked about holidays. He talked about celebration. He talked about just the whole concept. And we talk about it this time of year because there are many important holidays that take place at this time of year. One that most people talk about the most is probably Christmas. We have Kwanzaa, a few other religious holidays. So this is a good time to broach that subject. And so the question is, should we be participating in these holidays? Now, I will say that there is a difference between participating and celebrating. Mr. Fuller was pretty clear about celebrating in general. He didn't believe you should celebrate until we vanquish this system of racism and white supremacy. So he was not a big fan of celebrating, but he did not explicitly say do not participate in the holidays. Now, my personal history is that I've always had a problem with these holidays. I mean, I've been part of boycott Santa Claus campaigns. I think I even registered the domain boycottsanta.com. So this goes way back with me because I come from a marketing background and I understand this concept called social proof. Now, social proof is when you do something because other people are doing it. And if you don't do it, you're going to feel ostracized and left out. So we call it social proof. We call it the desire to belong. We call it the lemon effect. We call it FOMO. We call it keeping up with the Joneses and a few other aliases. And so anytime I feel that a people or a community is under the influence of social proof, I have a problem with it. And so, but I will say this, it is tough trying to toe the line, trying to do the right thing around this time of year because of that pressure. The pressure is brutal. People are going to accuse you of being broke, poor, radical. You're always talking about that black stuff. I mean, people tend to rationalize it. I mean, a lot of people are closet participants because the pressure is so brutal. They'll put up the facade. Well, I'm not doing that this year. I'm just going to do this. But right around Christmas Eve, boy, they find themselves in that long line. Okay, I'm gonna get this one gift. Or I got this kid. I don't want my child to feel left out. Or, well, I enjoyed the Santa Claus when I was a kid, so I'm not gonna deny my kid. So people find rationalizations for participating. Okay, so Mr. Fuller understood that. He did not come down with a hammer, and they also, like I said, gave us the VGQ. But he did not come right out and say, don't participate in Christmas or the holidays. He was more nuanced in his approach. He put out there this question like that he runs everything through this filter of, is it constructive? Does this activity help solve a problem? Does it help me avoid a problem? So we're going to start out today with putting up a video. We're going to run some of Mr. Fuller's videos, get his own words. You know, you don't have to take it from Mr. Bobby and Gate. Mr. Fuller left a trail of information and content so that we don't have to guess how he felt on these important topics. Let's start out with a video from him. This goes back a couple of years. So hang on a second.
For one thing, I know it's the holidays coming up, and I don't speak out against that. But I always say, spend, but spend very wisely. And don't give nobody nothing that they can't use right away. And don't try to send out no hints about receiving what you call luxuries. Forget that. Everything that you receive from somebody, even just normally, is something you can use immediately or somewhere in the foreseeable future. That's just the main message I want to get out this morning, is that do some belt tightening. And, I know I'm trying to sell people a book, but I still want them to buy the book, because it'll help them with a lot of that and a lot of other things, I hope. But the basic message is, every move that you make, not just financially, but every move that you make, just making cell phone calls, every last one of those cell phone calls should be connected with producing constructive results.
Remember that word, constructive results. Mr. Fuller was very consistent. Like you say, he ran the holiday season through this prism of, is it constructive? Is it going to help produce justice? Mr. Bobby.
I'm like you, Gate. Now, I was taught to participate in what they call holidays, which I found out that they really weren't holidays later on. And then my mindset changed, and I personally do not celebrate it, but I don't prohibit or think ill of anybody who wishes to participate in those days. My thing is that until we are free as a people, mind, body, and soul, there's nothing to celebrate, not when we're being consistently persecuted, targeted, and all other forms of mistreatment continually. No. I celebrate life and the Savior that I believe in, but this other stuff, no, I don't. So, but like I said, I don't get on anybody who chooses to do that. You have to come to your own self and realization of what's going on, and then you make the call, you make the decision.
Well, you're right, Mr. Bobby. You notice in that passage that we just played by Mr. Fuller, the first thing he said was, I'm not going to talk against that. Because one thing you have to learn when we are justice warriors and freedom fighters, people trying to make an impact, it's hard to get somebody to change a culture or a tradition they've been participating in their entire lives. And so many of us, we do the best we can. We're trying to toe that line. We're trying to seek justice. We're trying to be constructive, while at the same time fighting off these pressures that we're getting from our family, our friends. You're being marketed and bombarded 24 hours a day, starting all the way from July all the way up to December with messages to go out and spend money. So Mr. Fuller understood the assignment. He understood human nature. And that's one of the things I admired about Mr. Fuller. He was not as dogmatic as some people like to paint him out to be. First thing people want to say, Mr. Fuller said, don't do this or don't do that. He also said, use your logic. How are you? What's the best method for you to help dismantle this system of injustice? And you have a right to take your approach. Now, I'm going to go to the code book on page 73 in the area of economics. Mr. Fuller said this when it comes to, he called the so-called holidays, and he had a term, he talked about holidays too. So if you must participate, these are some of the things he said you can do. Number one, study, write, and or exchange views about ways and methods of replacing white supremacy with justice and balance between people. So he's saying if you're going to be involved in these holidays, then there are some things that you can do, because he's saying, he's pretty much saying that trying to tell you not to participate is swimming against the stream. It's an uphill battle, understanding human nature. He also said, number two, make no debts. Don't go out here and get in debt. This breaks my heart to see some of our people out here paying Santa Claus, which I've asked the question, is Santa Claus a tool of the racists? And putting themselves in debt. They spend the rest of the year, and sometimes it rolls into the next year and compound it year after year. They never really get out of it. So number two is don't get in debt. Mr. Fuller also said, pay as many debts as you can. So if you're in debt, use this time to try to get out of debt. And if you're going to give somebody something, give them something constructive. Or give it somebody who's in need. He also said, buy at least one item of constructive value for a non-white person. But pay for it at the time you buy it. Don't go out and get in debt once again. And he says, thanks and give thanks to the source. That's like Mr. Bible said. The source. Whatever kind of religion or faith you're in, this is a good time to give thanks for all the things you received that you can use towards a constructive purpose. So this is in the code book on page 73 of the revised edition. So Mr. Fuller, he didn't just get on here and he wasn't a person who just get on here and throw out superfluous rants and raves. He actually provided some constructive approaches to how to deal with this. This is a big deal. We come to this, we go through this every year. People are deciding whether to spend it all. They're trying to decide whether they should boycott. They're deciding whether they should just go out and spend because it makes them feel good. Well, that's one thing that Mr. Fuller laid some very good guidance on. Yes, as he said, I'm not going to talk against it, but you have to add some constructive value. Now, of course, holiday in Mr. Fuller's code book, it also falls under the area of religion. Besides economics, it falls under religion. If you go to page 272 in the 2016 revised edition, he talked about holiday, the term holiday. He talked about it in the code book, and he talked about it in the word guide. He said, which holidays are the correct ones for thinking, speaking, and acting to accomplish things of constructive value? And he gave the answer. He didn't hesitate. He didn't waver. He said, every day, all day and all night. In other words, you don't need a special day of the year to do something constructive. You should be on your game 24/7, 365, and 366 on leap years. I'm reading from the code book. We're talking about holidays this time of year. People get very confused. And one thing about this show, and that is really one of the only reasons I set up here practically every week, is that if I can't give some guidance and some action items, then just sitting up here reading the book, that's not what I do. Okay, maybe that's what some people do. I'm an action person. So everything I do in this world, I have to ask myself, what are we going to do about it? What's the call to action? So I'm giving you some concrete steps from the mouth of Mr. Fuller and from his code books, we're going to do another passage. We're going to listen to another one of Mr. Fuller's videos. And when he talked about gifts, the gift giving, which is a big part of this time of year, I tell you, my take is, I tell people, everybody who knows me knows this. Swimming against this tide of gift giving this time of year is really, really hard. People just come out of the blue. I mean, a relative pops up, they haven't seen you in 20 years, and somebody at work come in with a big old box wrapped up, or get a gift card or something like that. I tell people, look, if you're going to give me a gift, you can give me something that's going to help my business. Give me some ink for my printer. Give me a gadget. Give me a new printer. Give me something that's going to help me make this money. And so my family's finally got on. They call me boring, stick in the mud. They try to sneak something else on the side. Okay, well, look, I got you that printer that you talked about. I got you that new phone, or that new device, or that charger you were talking about, or that projector, or that something. But I went ahead and got you this soap on a rope, or this sweater, or some Old Spice, just to keep it real. So, I mean, you do what you got to do. Let's go. Let's see what Mr. Fuller had to say about gift giving. So hang on a second.
Well, a lot of people are buying presents and whatnot, so and they will be doing this. But I'm just saying, this is a part of the code. Try to limit anything that you buy for anybody, or anything that you acquire, to something that when you look at it, if it's something that's designed to be looked at or heard, that the effect of it, when you look at it or hear it, if it's something that produces things that are constructive. For example, someone gave me a gift many years ago, and it was an artistic item. And he said, well, you can interpret it any way that you want to, because it was some type of figurine. It wasn't in the form of a person. It was just something on a stand. And so I looked at it and I said, well, and he asked, the person that gave it to me asked me, what do you think about when you see it? I said, well, right now I'm not thinking about anything except you're giving it to me and I'm looking at it. But I've had it for some years, and that is still my evaluation. So it may still have something in the future. It depends on where my mind is. But I'm saying avoid giving as a gift anything that doesn't contribute to a person's thinking, that will produce results of constructive value.
Well, you heard him say it again. Constructive value. Is that gift going to have some type of constructive value? Now, I must admit, this takes some work. This is going to take some reprogramming for many people. I have no illusions about how difficult this is. See, I have to dip into my psychology background on this one as well. It's okay to understand the pressure that you're under. You don't have to go in the closet like many people do. They have this brave front about it. I'm not participating in that. Until that kid stares up in their face, or somebody pops an unexpected gift on them, and they're like, I'm going to do it this one time, and then I'll go back to being righteous. No, come out the closet. I'm just going to tell you. Come on out the closet. Follow Mr. Fuller's advice. He's giving you the blueprint on how to deal with this ambivalence, which is a simultaneous attraction and repulsion to something at the same time. You don't have to be ambivalent. If you grow up in a tradition of celebrating, and I'm taking away the word, I'm using the word celebrating with quote in quotes around it, or let's say participating, then reframe it to do it differently. Do it so that it has some type of constructive value. That is the point that I'm making. And before I get out of here today, I'm going to give you my take. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about it and how I think it can participate. Mr. Bobby, what are some of the folks saying over there?
Well, let's see here. Still Learning says gift giving is a gift giving is a selfish act. While the gift may help someone solve a problem, the intrinsic value from giving the gift only pleases the giver. Wow, how about that one?
That's a different take. You know, I'll agree with the last point about the gift pleasing the giver. And I will go back to some of the gifts I've received over the years and will probably receive this year. They're giving me things that they know darn well is not going to help me. But it made them feel good. It made them feel good. I wouldn't go as far as call it a totally selfish act. Some people actually have good intentions. They are very altruistic, but there is a lot of truth to what Still Learning is saying, that sometimes people are giving not out of any type of altruism. They sometimes they're carrying guilt. Sometimes they're confused. Sometimes they're just trying to fit in because it's that time of year. And so there may be some selfishness or self-serving involved in the process. Mr. Bobby.
Yeah, let me interact here. We have to understand, Gate, and to the listeners, that we have to be codified at all times. Why? Because we are at war. We're at war against people or the system that is against us. And so, being that we're at war, we have to realize that we have to take control of the situation, this right now, gift giving and all these holidays, and not let it control us. Because if it does, then we become subservient to that. And the use of distractions, Gate, and to the listening audience, are very prevalent with us right now. For example, the government shutdown. Now, you knew darn good and well, and I'm using that word darn in place of another word, that they were going to open it up. Why? Because you got what? Christmas coming up. Yeah. They everybody knew that except for you. You knew they were going to open it up and let go of these things so that people can go out and do what? Buy or get in debt, which I don't, I try not to have any debt other than utilities, but all that stuff. And then, like you said earlier, Gabe, paying for this stuff all year long. That's not cool. And then you do the same thing over again. But we're at war. The government shut down. Look at the military, how they are in certain cities that actually have very little crime. Or, how about this one? The bombing of those drug dealers, or so-called drug dealers, and the boat, and they videoed it. Then they said it wasn't what we saw. You didn't see what you think you saw, and now they're playing the blame game. What am I saying? All these are distractions.
Right.
Why? Because allegedly, and I have no proof of this, but your president is being set up for a third term as president, which is illegal. I got some information this morning. It's already in the workings. I haven't verified it, but the usual suspects are in play. In particular, Mr. SB, his first and last name. He's real quiet now. They've already got the thing already planned out, so I've been told. They use these distractions to keep us away from what's going on. We are at war. And this hour that we have, Gate, and to the listeners, is a chance for us to express that and don't get caught up in the foolishness of the so-called season. What is Jolly St. Nick, Holly Ho, or whatever that? No, don't do it. That's my take, bro.
That's a good take, Mr. Bobby. And you're exactly right. That's been one of the challenges I've had with the season is that it is a distraction. It's like what the old saying, soothe the savage beast. Let's throw some gift giving. Let's throw a white guy in a beard out there. Let's trot out some pagan rituals and anything to keep them calm from focusing on what's really, really happening. Like you said, but some of the things that are happening on the political stage, that's happening during the foreign policy arenas, your rights are being taken away, your votes are being diluted and marginalized. You're being laid off by the hundreds of thousands. You're taking away rights that were been around forever. And we're out here worrying about what to get somebody put on a Christmas tree, how to pay Santa Claus, and going further into debt. So that is why Mr. Fuller every year around this time, and I'm keeping that tradition going. We have to talk about these things. Yes, Mr. Bobby.
Let's get that commercial in here right quick. It's about half an hour in. Let's get that commercial in here that we talked about.
We have this. We'll talk about it after the commercial. So hang on.
1984 first printing, which comes in an attractive coffee table size. Your copy of Neely Fuller Jr.'s original counter-racist codebook. This special edition leather-bound treasure is an essential keepsake for those who value the work of Neely Fuller Jr. Each limited edition copy has been personally signed by Mr. Fuller and comes with a unique certificate of authenticity. There will be only 20 precious copies of this rare 1984 first printing, which comes in an attractive coffee table size. This timeless masterpiece will be available soon, but they won't last long. And when they're gone, they're gone. To pre-order your treasured copy of this collector's item, visit www.producejustice.com for the availability countdown so that you'll be the first in line. That's producejustice.com. Pre-order your copy today.
A quick word about the limited edition collector's item of the code book. We had quite a few people who have really tried to find other ways to keep Mr. Fuller's legacy alive, and they really, really value and appreciate his work. So the people at Produce Justice, including myself, decided to come up with a piece, a limited edition code book. Now, Mr. Fuller actually, and his son discussed this with me. He had written he had a box, like a cardboard box, had 20 books of the original. This is before we mass produced them. And a coffee table size. He had hand signed each one of them, and they were in a box. And he had written on top of the box with instructions what to do if he ever passed away. He didn't say go out and do what we did, but he said these are for whatever you decide to do. And we decided to go ahead and have them leather bound and put in a very, very nice, presentable presentation. Comes with a authentic certificate, numbered, and with his signature on it. Now, I'm going to go back to the holidays. These books, it costs a little money to get these books produced, and so we're not trying to make any profit on them. And if you can't afford it, don't do it. Don't go into debt trying to do it. Okay. This is for people who have the means, who really appreciate Mr. Fuller's work and would like to have this keepsake, but it's not to put anybody in debt. We're going to be consistent about that. But you can find out more about the book by going to producejustice.com, and you can see the banner there, and just check it out. And like I said, if you don't, we're consistent. Don't go into debt. Don't try to put it on your credit card if you can't pay. Put it on your debit card. If you pay your credit card off every month, then go ahead and do it. But this is a way of honoring Mr. Fuller and to keep his legacy alive. And we have some more things coming down the pike in 2026. We have some original videos of Mr. Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. We have unseen things that are coming down the pike. Somebody talked about a pocket guide. We're looking into that. Mr. Fuller left behind some notes, some unseen notes We're going to have those packaged up and available to the public. And the produce justice, some people have talked about the price of the books. They think they're a little high. But if you notice anything about produce justice, we don't ask for donations. This came right from the top. You never see us put a button down here that says donate. The only revenue that comes through this organization is through the sale of the books. And so that way you can support the organization, get this information that is so valuable. And but definitely we're not trying to go out here and make any profit off Mr. Fuller or his works. We're just covering costs and trying to keep this legacy moving, including this show and other people involved in the organization. And this book that we just produced is not a profit item, by the way. It's not going to make anybody rich. It's actually for you, the people who want to keep Mr. Fuller's legacy alive. Mr. Bobby.
Yeah, let me get some chat information. At Anthony Senior Cross says this. Not only do we as the Black Diaspora refute certain holidays, but refuse to adhere to truth, i.e., you can bring forth truth and we will not accept it or take the course of correction. Still Learning says this. I recommend approaching, or replacing the concept of, quote, gift giving, end quote, with solution giving. That's quote in quotations. Help others solve problems to produce justice. Many don't know what problems exist and can't ask for a solution. So that, yes, sir.
Let me just comment on what AP has said. Thank you for that.
Okay.
And
okay.
Still learning. Well, still learning. That was a great idea. Replace this concept of gift giving with solution giving.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Just think about the psychology of that. If you frame it in that way, I'm not giving you some superfluous gift that's going to end up on a trash bin a week or two from now. I'm giving you a solution that can help you solve some of your life problems, to help us get justice. So I really, really like that. Still Learning. That's very thoughtful. Go ahead, Mr. Bobby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was about it. AP wanted to know how much are they, and CRU Royalty would love to get it and cannot at the moment, but we'll get it. Now, there's only 20 copies, so I've been told, and I'm just finding out about this, and that's it. So I don't know what can be worked out on that, but how would you approach that, Gabe? Somebody that wants it, but they can't get it at this time. What do we do?
Well, just for the record, the book is $1.99, and like I said, that's almost with no margin of profit. We even talked about this when we first came up with the concept. We were thinking about selling for twice that, because we feel some people would actually pay for that. So we tried to find a nice happy medium where we're not losing any money on it, but at the same time making it affordable for the people who really, really want it. Somebody said they can't afford it at the moment. I tell you what we're going to do, CRU Royalty. We're going to put a counter. We'll put a counter on the screen so that you can see what the inventory looks like as they tick off. And we're going to have some other items coming down the pike too. I'm just going to say that also. We're actually coming up with a hard copy version of the revised edition. We may have a few more of those coffee table sizes that are not signed, but we will provide a certificate of authenticity. So there are other ways to get it. Okay, this just happened to be a very, very limited edition, and as a matter of fact, I happen to have one of them right here. This is what it cover. Anyway, that's a copy of it.
Wait a minute. We didn't see that. So put that up again.
It didn't come through on the camera, Mr.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was too close to the camera to kind of black things out. But anyway, you can go to the website, go to producejustice.com. You'll see a copy. As soon as you go to the website, there's a pop-up banner. Just go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to say it again. Don't put yourself in in debt trying to get this book. Mr. Fuller wouldn't want that. If you have the means, then go ahead and do it. And we will have some other ways in the pike, coming down the pike, that might be a little more friendly on your pocketbook if cost is a concern. Because the last thing we want anybody to do is to go into debt while we're sitting here talking about debt. So
Right.
we're consistent. Okay, let's continue. Thanks again for the feedback to everybody who's commented and those who are interested in the book. We'll be looking for you to go ahead and get that pre-order in. And I hate to say it, but when they're all gone, they're gone. We held off on this for a long time, actually, because they were so valuable, and they were in this book that Mr. Fuller had tucked in this box. Mr. Fuller had tucked away, and his son contacted me and said, "Robert, what are we going to do with this?" I'm like, "Okay, let's think about it. We can let's give it the royal treatment that it needs." So that's why, like I said, we had it leather bound and put a certificate there, and then of course has Mr. Fuller's signature. Let's talk about let's go back to our topic today, which is holidays. In the area of in the word guide, Mr. Fuller said he talked about the word holiday. He said use this word with caution. When others use it, ask them for a detailed explanation so that you can easily understand what is a holiday. What do they consider a holiday? What's the purpose of the holiday? Does holiday mean holy day? Does it mean day that's whole? Are some of the days holy and whole and others are not? Who is qualified to say what's a holiday or not? Is any day has less value than others? If so, why? And according to whom? Well, let's see what Mr. Fuller had to say about holidays. And hold on a second. Let me get another one of his videos up here.
Calls it instead of saying holiday, he says whole day.
Yes, every day is a whole day, and every day is a holy day, and every day is a holiday. And you should treat every day just like that. Every day is a whole day. And in a whole day, what are you supposed to be doing with the breath day that you and I and everybody I know about has been given? That's a super gift. So no person should say, I ain't never had nothing. Yeah, you did. You got it now. You're sitting there breathing. That's a gift. You're talking about waiting to get a gift. Man, you've had it all the time. Didn't even know it. So don't say that you never was given nothing.
Man, that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
You were given life, breath. Every day is a holiday, according to Mr. Fuller. Let's go. Let's dig into this thing a little more. This time of year, probably the most prominent holiday is probably Christmas. And we came up, this was well before Mr. Fuller, or we heard of Mr. Fuller. We were chasing Santa Claus. On Christmas Eve, my folks went out and what they call pay Santa Claus. It was kind of comical when you think back on it. And that we actually thought this guy actually came down the chimney and riding around on a sleigh with a reindeer. Big, I don't know how that bag was going to be big enough to go around the world. And so you had to really detach yourself from reality. And that's never a good thing.
Yeah.
But it was something that had been perpetuated and passed down through generations. And I can't fault the people. I can't fault the people that did it because they're operating in this system of racism and white supremacy. And and you pass it from generation to generation. And we were, like I said, introduced to this guy called Santa Claus. And Mr. Fuller said, and this is in the word guide on page 344. He said, do not use the term celebrate, commemorate, or glorify any event, circumstance, or condition unless required by your chosen religion, and do not make or recognize any person, image, depiction as being Santa Claus and or Saint Nick. The reason he gives is the word Santa Claus and Saint Nick often have been used to describe a make-believe white bearded white man who is depicted as a supreme good person and who is a master giver of gifts to the good people of the place called the planet Earth. The concept of Santa Claus has most often been used in a manner that has helped to promote both the concept and practice of white supremacy and racism. I mean, just the fact that you have this white bearded guy going into the neighborhood reminds me of that song by Curtis Blow. He kind of made fun of it in his Christmas rap.
Yeah.
But just the whole concept that, think about the delusion and the deception of this into the malleable minds of a people who are depressed, oppressed, and young people who are looking for some positive, something good in their lives, and you feed them this at a very, very early age, Mr. Bobby.
Yeah, let me back you up, Gabe. I had some evidence on this. You were absolutely correct. This stuff was brought over in the 17th century. How many ever heard of 1619? It's a Eurocentric or Western European idea that was brought over here and put on the indigenous people of this concept or this nation. And if you check back further, that particular statement is backed up by the tradition that was held in the Ethiopian Bible, which has all 81 books in there that explains this whole thing. And that particular concept, not that one, but the Western European, the colonizers didn't want certain books that were in there. I think it was 15 books that explained what was going on. By the way, that Ethiopian Bible is the original Bible that dated 800 years before the King James versions, which most of us have been brought up under, until we find out that there were certain things left out. They said they were lost. They weren't lost. They just decided not to print those at certain conferences that they had back in the day. Anyway, they came over here and put that on us, and we believed that, which what? Causes debt, believing in a white guy coming down the chimney, or even if you didn't have a chimney, he came down it. But all that stuff, see, we got misguided, we got distracted, we got misled. And that's wrong. But if you go back, and most of us won't, but I have been going back and looking at some of those books that have been so-called lost in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, then you'll see what was going on and then how they came over here and put this concept on. This is why we have to stay codified, because it is designed to get us off track and to have us fighting amongst one another or supporting this system, and then we in debt for the full year. Okay? Not me. Thank God, not me. I don't want to do that no more, okay? I want to be codified. And with everything that I do in thought, speech, and action. Go ahead, Gabe.
Thank you, Mr. Bobby. I'm working on codification. Like I said, I have my beliefs, but I'm glad that Mr. Fuller left this guide.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need you're at these crossroads and you're not sure which way to go, and you have something that like the code book. A couple of quick comments. Shaba Justice, he asked about what page we'll be reading from. Talking about Santa Claus, we were reading from the Word Guide. The Word Guide, which was written in 2010, page 344. Where we was talking about Saint Nick and Santa Claus. Sorry for the mispronouncing of your name, The name is Reality. Thank you for that correction.
Oh, Reality? Okay.
Okay, so we got that. And just thank you for the comments. Also, we put the link in the feed. Anybody wants to come on camera, we're running a little short on time, but if you want to jump in at the last minute here, I'll put the feed in again. We'll bring you up on the screen. You can talk about your experience, how you plan to participate in the holiday season or not. So feel like it's, once again, this is your show. Let's see here. Hang on a second. We're going to do another one more video. But before I do that, I'm just going to give you some of my takes on this whole holiday season. Take it from a pros and a con approach. The pros and the cons of participating in this time of year. Let's talk about the pros. And like I said, Mr. Fuller, as we played from the first video, Mr. Fuller never said don't participate. He said, I'm not going to speak against that. What he did say, be constructive. He was unambiguous about that. So for the people who are sitting on the fence, Mr. Bob, you had something?
Yeah, just a quick correction here. Somebody just wrote about it, StreamYard, about $10. That's not true. Isn't it free or what?
StreamYard is free.
Yeah.
There is no fee associated with this show. Now the platform we use is called StreamYard. I think they have a paid version, a free version. We just use that that platform to distribute the broadcast. And that's common platform that many people in the blogging and they're doing these types of shows are using. So that's no secret.
Okay.
But there's no fee to you. There's no fee to you.
Right.
Now, if you decide to become a blogger, like I said, you can pay a few $100s a month to get this platform to reach thousands of people. But that's not for you, the listener. That's our concern. Let's talk about quickly. Give you some Gates take on this holiday season. There are some advantages of times of the year like this, and you have to, like you say, first of all, you make sure it's constructive. That's the overarching advantage, of that you have an opportunity to be constructive. This is a good time of year to strengthen your family bonds, reconnect with family members, storytelling, talk about your past, how we got here, and you can have some intergenerational unity. So that's a good thing. These are some constructive things you can do. You can also rejuvenate, rest, get emotionally grounded. You've gone through a year. We've had a very tough year this year. We've seen rights stripped away. We've seen all kinds of things going on. Take this time of year to just exhale. This is a good time of year for cultural expressions. You don't have to toe the line of the races. We do have a culture, a history. Now, sometimes the culture is not that great in some areas. Some things you want to leave in the closet, but there is some opportunity to go back into tradition. This is a good time to be strategic in your interaction, building networks, planning. So you don't have to just sit around and, like I say, pay Santa Claus. There are some constructive things that you can do. You can redirect your spending towards non-white businesses, Black-owned businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs. Redirect that money. Keep that money in the community. So there are some positive things that you can do this time of year. Now, I will say, I'm just going to put a little damper on it, but some balance to it. There's a lot of cons And the word con is very appropriate. You start thinking about Santa Claus and going into debt this time of year. Number one on the list is overspending. We're already behind the 8 ball. You're already making less than 70% of your white counterparts to begin with. If nothing else, you should take this time of year to try to recoup that 30% gap. Definitely don't widen it by going into debt. Billions of dollars are spent during the Christmas and holiday season, and very little of that money recirculates through our community. There's short-term satisfaction with long-term repercussions. You feel good that wake up in that morning with that gifts under that tree. But before sundown, you're already starting to feel the impact. That dread starts to creep in. Man, I shouldn't have spent that. I can't even go ahead and buy groceries. I can't even pay my rent. First of the month is coming up. Don't do that. Another problem with this time of year, and I'm not trying to overshadow the positive things we talked about earlier, but a lot of times that money is going towards your oppressor. The same people who are stripping away your rights, supporting injustice, stripping away employment opportunities, denying you loans, punishing your kids disproportionately in school, taking away your right to vote. Some of these same folks, you're lining their pockets. I've never been a fan of financing my own oppression.
You're right.
This comes to us in full color during this time of year. You're just handing them more money to oppress you, as if they didn't have enough. I also talked about the psychological impact. There's this expectation-driven participation. You are expected to participate whether you want to or not, whether you believe it's the right thing or not. There's this social proof, this desire to belong, that's driving people beyond their mental capacity to combat it. It's just too much. When everybody around you is handing out gifts, you're going to feel like you need to hand out a gift, or you're going to be ostracized. I have a big, big problem with that. That is a con. And also this time of year, because of this expectation, it compounds grief and loneliness. Everybody doesn't have a big family. Somebody, particularly people around our age, they may have lost their last living relative, their last parent, their last uncle. They're the last holding the line. You don't want to emphasize that or make people feel worse than they already do. And so that's some of the psychological impacts of this time of year. So what I'm going to say is, as we wrap things up here, if it produces a constructive result, then do it. Joy, unity, rest, supporting your community, businesses, empowerment. Let's do that this time of year. Let's do it abundantly. That's constructive. If you're helping a family member solve problems, you're helping a friend, you're supporting a business, you're strengthening the community ties, let's do it. If you're going to spend money, spend it consciously, constructively, not destructively. If it causes confusion, conflict, debt, unnecessary pressure, don't do it. If it claims your resources without contributing to long-term benefits, don't do it. Pass on it. If you're doing it out of fear of judgment, tradition following, social pressure, don't do it. We're in a system. It's a formidable system. It preys on the unlearned, unconnected, disconnected, those without foundation, no belief systems. What Mr. Fuller has done is provided a code book. And when I talk about the code book, I don't treat it like it's some sacred document. Mr. Fuller said use it as a guide. We don't do cults here. We don't do mindless thinking here. We use logic here. And from a logical standpoint, and you heard it from Mr. Fuller's own words, we're going to get one last passage from Mr. Fuller. He also gave some concrete ways of how we should spend this time of year. Hang on.
Can you please explain why celebrating any holiday is non-constructive and strengthens the system of white supremacy rather than weakens it?
The code says, this is the prescription. When you say, because in the code, it's all about not just what you stop doing, it's what you start doing. So what we call celebration should be, according to the code, don't celebrate, educate. And like even Christmas is a time, we call it to celebrate the birth of Jesus in the Christian religion. But why not just substitute the word under the law of compensation, celebrate, but educate. So what's the birth of Jesus about? And then you can go into that. And what is the lesson you're supposed to learn that's going to have a constructive result? Because you shouldn't be celebrating anything unless there's a lesson to be learned. Educate yourself and say, oh, what I'm going to do? I'm going to eat a healthy meal. I'm going to call a few people that I haven't called and see if I can help them solve some of the problems that they have and ask them for some ideas about solving some of the problems that I have and see what the results are going to be. And then I'm going to have an excellent night's sleep and I'm not drinking no poison or smoking nothing or shooting up nothing, including other people.
And Mr. Fuller was one of a kind, I must say. He said he's going to get him a good night's sleep, rest up. He's not going to go out here and celebrate, be shooting people. And so Mr. Fuller gave us some concrete ideas. I like what still learning. Thanks again, still learning. He gave us a good piece of advice to end this thing on. Being codified may be a lonely place. Now, brother, I agree with that. I was trying to be codified before I knew there was such a thing as codified. And it got very, very lonely. I mean, that pressure's coming to you from every direction. It's hard. But when you think about it, you're under the influence of this awesome marketing machine perpetuated by the very people who are oppressing you. So let's go into this with our eyes wide open. Nobody said this would be easy, but hopefully today we've given you some call to action on how you can participate by being constructive. And if you're still not sure, go to the producejustice.com. Even if you don't buy the book, there's some good, you can read up on the 9 areas of activity. You can find out more about Mr. Fuller. You can listen to some of the past shows, and we cover just about everything. So spend this time of year just refreshing and, like I said, getting on code. Mr. Bobby.
Yeah, as we wrap it up, as you were making that comment from Still Learning, the last part says, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I like that. All right, three things very quickly. Always use counter-racist logic in whatever you do, thought, speech, and action. The assignment for today is a warning from Dr. Jeremiah Wright. His 6-minute, 48-second speech on goddamn America. Get the full version of what he really said. And this, producejustice.com.
Mr. Bobby, you said it nicely. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll probably play this broadcast again over the holiday season. Keep everybody grounded and give you go back and get some insight on how we can coexist. You got the pressure on this side, you have the code on this side. Sometimes they're at odds, but you don't have to stress yourself out this time of year. Find yourself, like Still Learning, say sometimes you have to be a little uncomfortable, but find your comfort zone. If your comfort zone allows you to be constructive and seek justice, then that's a good place to be. We're going to thank you again. We'll be back next week, and we look forward to your interaction. Also, like I say, if you want to come on the show, we put the link up every week. Also, if you want to come on as a guest host, we have a few people who are lining up to come on and join Mr. Bobby and me on the screen and sit with us during the show to discuss these topics. And if you feel that if you have that qualification or that interest, then send us an email at contact@producejustice.com. And we'll be glad to entertain you as a possible guest host on this show. On that note, we'll be back next week. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Neely Photo's Counter Racist Code Show. And we will see you again next week.
Order your copy of Neely Fuller Jr.'s original counter-racist codebook. This special edition leather-bound treasure is an essential keepsake for those who value the work of Neely Fuller Jr. Each limited edition copy has been personally signed by Mr. Fuller and comes with a unique certificate of authenticity. There will be only 20 precious copies of this rare 1984 first printing, which comes in an attractive coffee table size. This timeless masterpiece will be available soon, but they won't last long. And when they're gone, they're gone. To pre-order your treasured copy of this collector's item, visit www.producejustice.com for the availability countdown so that you'll be the first in line. That's producejustice.com. Pre-order your copy today.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time.